Unleashing success, overcoming negative emotions, and self doubt in business. There's so much for me to say about this, especially in the space that I'm in right now with my business. Self doubt, negative emotions, imposter syndrome, lack of confidence, low self esteem. Those are some of those little critters that tend to pop around in the mind of us business owners, entrepreneurs, side hustlers, and just everyday dreamers. These negative emotions come from nowhere and get in the way of us fulfilling our true destiny. And they said the number one killer of your dream is fear. It's not action like they say. It's not, all of these things. Fear is the biggest dream killer. Why do we allow fear, self-doubt, negative emotions, and all of these things get into the way of our business? I'm excited about this conversation as much as you are, because now in this new stage of my business where I myself am pivoting into new territory, into new terrain, and starting out as a beginner when I've already been so good at something and so well known for something, it's quite the challenge for me right now. And I said, you know what? I know that this is something that I've experienced, and I know that my girlies in the community could use some help on this too. So, welcome to the Girl Activate podcast, where we drop inspirational gems that you can apply to your daily life to help you to awaken the greatness within. The Girl Activate community is also for the girlies who are looking to not only do well in life, but to do well in business. I am your host, Stacey Ciceron, and on today's podcast, we're going to be chatting it up with trainer and master NLP coach, Brigette Sobus. Brigette has been a certified coach for over a decade. She belongs to the International Coach Federation and holds her accreditation as a professional certified coach. She has certifications with Marshall Goldsmith and is a master NLP coach, which we'll hear about, and holds her master's certification in timeline therapy, which I want to talk about. She is always committed to leveling her practice. Brigette helps people see their potential, which I need, and create the life they've always wanted through her Power and Joy mentorship program. She also launched the Power and Joy Coaching Academy to certify others to become Power and Joy transformational coaches, walking away with 5 different internationally recognized certifications. Brigette, welcome to the Girl Activate podcast.
Oh, Stacey, I'm so honored to be here with you today. I love talking about this stuff.
And let me not mention that Brigette and I have a long history together. She has coached me personally through 2 different phases of my life. One as a business owner, an actual brick and mortar business owner. And then when I was pivoting into my solopreneur career, so to speak. So it's just interesting now to just come full circle and be able to share my gift with you. And I know that this will be a very impactful conversation. So thank you
Yeah.
again for being on the show.
Oh my gosh, I'm so honored. I was telling my parents that I'm staying with my parents right now because I'm healing from a surgery I just had a few weeks ago. And so I'm sharing with my parents, like, oh, what are you doing? Who's the podcast? So I'm like, oh, a past client of mine, Stacy Ciceron. I'm like, she was a celebrity stylist. She's this, she's that. She was like all the things. And my dad goes, and she hired you? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, I'm impressed. Oh, it's such
That's
an
so
honor to be here
awesome.
with you. I love and adore you. You are such
Aw,
an inspiration. So thanks
thank
for
you. Thank you. You know, we can turn this into a big old love fest, but
coming.
let's jump right into it. Ready to go?
I am so ready. Yes.
So you have such an interesting background. I think that's how we initially connected.
Mhm.
You have a hairstyling background, salon ownership background. So I'd like you to tell our audience a little bit about where you come from
Mhm.
and how you got started
Yeah.
in coaching.
Yeah, it's so funny because if I went to cosmetology school, gosh, back in 93, and if someone would have said, like, if I were to see a fortune teller and they would have said, and one day you are going to be a coach and train people how to do hypnosis, I would have said, I don't even know what a coach and what the heck is hypnosis anyway. That sounds weird. So I started my career out as a colorist. I fell in love with color. I became a master certified colorist. I worked for many different types of businesses, anywhere from corporate to salons that had a little bit of structure in place to big hot messes that had zero structure of anything. And the last salon I found myself working in was the salon that had basically no structure. It was kind of a free for all. And I was personally making a six-figure income working in that business. So I thought to myself, if this person can own a business, there's no reason why I can't. I'm sure there's many of you out there that have thought the same thing. So the opportunity presented itself, and I had the opportunity to buy the salon. So I took the opportunity thinking I was going to become a millionaire overnight because I thought I could do a better job than he could. And I quickly realized I became the hot mess. I lost my six-figure paycheck, and my dreams of being a millionaire pretty much flew out the window overnight. So that was kind of how I stepped into being a salon owner. So luckily for me, somebody introduced me to a coaching and consulting company that specialized in the salon spa industry, and I hired them. I all of a sudden I found myself turning the business around 30-40%. I was growing it each year. I learned how to manage a team and grow a team. If I first started, I was crying in front of my team and they were looking at me like I had three heads. And then I was able to actually lead a team and have team meetings. I became a Salon Today Top 200 winner for 13 years in a row while I owned my business. And then that was the catalyst to lead me to become a coach.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first stepping stone because I was like, this work had changed my life personally and professionally. I want to do this for other people. So that was the catalyst for me stepping into the coaching.
You brought up a point about thinking that you were going to be a millionaire when you opened the salon. I want to talk a little bit about that. And then, secondly, what popped into my mind was how did you even know that you needed coaching? So, for example, I would attend trade shows, I would read all the magazines, I had hairstylist friends, but for whatever reason, it didn't, I don't know why we don't make the connection necessarily that we need a coach, but we'll talk about that second. First, I want to talk about being a millionaire going into the salon business. I think that in beauty school, outside of being a celebrity hairstylist, I also wanted to have my own salon. I wanted to have my own products. I wanted to have my name everywhere. But there was this idea that the salon was going to make me a millionaire. I think that a lot of stylists think that they're just going to pop open a salon and become a millionaire. Is that possible to become a millionaire salon owner? Or is that
I believe it is possible. And I would probably say I'm going to probably like, it's almost like 10% of the industry is even profitable to begin with, which let's change that. And I probably want to say out of that 10%, maybe like 10% of the 10% are millionaires. Yeah. So it is possible 100%. And I believe that the more our industry steps up, and we're going to talk about limiting beliefs and doubts here, the more the industry steps up, gets out of their own way with the fear of raising prices, charging the worth, and elevating the industry, I definitely think there's more potential for people to become millionaires in this industry.
Yeah,
100%.
I just thought it was so interesting that you felt that way. I felt that way. And I think a lot of people going into business feel like this is their
Yeah.
ticket out. But usually in service-based businesses, it takes so much more to hit that seven-figure mark than to just dream it. And I think through working with you in the stages of the business and having an actual budget sheet and setting financial goals, it was just like, that's not going to happen here with 2 and 3 chair salon or 4 chairs. There's an actual formula to become this $1 million business. Even if you're not a salon, I'm saying it's just like we go into business thinking this is going to be the meal ticket. This is what's going to make us the 7 figures. But really, we don't even have the things in place that would even make that possible. So it's kind of just all in our mind. And
Yeah.
the second part of this was how did you know that you needed a coach soon into the business?
I was so, I don't know if you want to call it timing or luck or whatever it was. It just so happened that I bought the salon, and then I had colleagues and friends that I knew that were like, we're going to this, convention in California. You should come with us. And I was like, I don't have any money. I can't go. I'm like, I just bought a salon and I'm working my butt off. And they're like, let us connect you to one of the people that work for this organization. It was back in the day, it was called Salon Training International.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, all right. So they connected me with somebody. This person was a pretty awesome salesperson. Basically, like, getting me so present to like what's missing in the business, what's going to happen if you continue down this path. And I was like, I'll just be crying all the time. And before you know it, I was enrolled. I didn't even know what a coach was. And I was like enrolled in this, like, back then I was paying like $2,000 a month for coaching.
Wow.
And I had like no money. I don't even know where I found it. And then I'm going to California, spending another thousands of dollars to go to this convention called Your Beauty Network. And so I just kind of like fell into it at that stage. So I'm so grateful that these friends of mine were like, you have to do this, come with us, because they were opening up their own salon. Because I don't even want to know where I would be at. I probably wouldn't have had a business for very long, first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably would have been this really big, dysfunctional, crying hot mess all over the place. So like it kind of just fell into place. So like the universe was like, you don't even know what you need, but here you go.
Wow.
Right. So I'm so grateful that happened. And like back then, like $2,000, this was back in 2006.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even know where I was going to come up with that money.
That's a lot of money now, but almost 20 years ago, that was definitely a lot of money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was even more than what it would be. I would probably now it'd be like $4,000, right?
Yeah.
Considering. But yeah, it was just kind of like the universe was like, we know you're going to need this. Because I had no idea what a coach was. And here's the funny part. I thought that this person was going to come in and be like wave a magic wand and like all the systems would be in place. I didn't even realize all the work I had to do to implement all the systems and structures in my business.
Yeah.
Back then I was like, well, what do you mean I have to? He's like, you're going to go learn how to do this consultation. First and foremost, you're going to learn how to make more money behind the chair. And the first thing he taught me was like how to do a consultation. And I was like,
I don't need this. I already know how to do one.
This is what I paid $2,000 for.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, I literally raised my average service ticket back in 2006 from $90 to $140 just by following the system. So I started increasing my prices and in turn taught my own team how to do that. So that's where all the sales growth happened. And then each month I would just layer in a new system. Like, my gosh, the first time I had to be like, and now you have to sign a handbook, I was like freaking out.
Oh, I
Like,
know how I know
legal
that hard
strict
conversation.
policies and procedures, and these are your new compensation structures. Like it was scary at the
Yeah,
time.
I know.
And it had me have such a successful business.
Yeah.
So
So you started out as a hairstylist and you're just like, I can do this better than you. And you had the opportunity to purchase the salon. You become a salon owner and realize it's not all that you thought it as easy as you thought it would be.
so
And you actually made more money as an employee than as an owner.
yeah.
And then you just were in the right place and ended up at this coaching course or and to help to consult your business. Your
Mhm.
business turned around, but still that opened your eyes to coaching and then you decided to get into coaching. What so you transform your business, but not everybody feels like, "Oh, I need to go show this to someone else." So what inspired you to want to help others? You could have kept that to yourself or just trained in the salon. How did it grow into another entity?
I just felt this calling in my soul. I always loved teaching. It was so funny. Like my dad even reminded me, like, he was like, you know that when you were young, you always said you wanted to be a teacher. And I'm like, I don't remember that, but he does.
Uh-huh.
And I always thought I was going to be a hair color educator. So prior to opening up the salon, I had these dreams of being a platform artist for Wella. I loved Wella at the time.
Mhm.
And after I took the salon over, we were a totally different product line. And then that's another story. I just felt so inspired because of how it changed my life and the way I thought about business differently, how I was showing up for my team, and I was able to grow and prosper. I was just like so inspired. I'm like, I want to do this for other people. It just was this calling inside of me,
Yeah,
if you will.
I think that's so special. I think that many of us, even though I'm not a professional certified teacher, it was something in me that once I learned something, I had to go and teach it to
Yeah.
somebody else, you know? So I think that that is definitely something that's built into us. All right, so now we know a little bit about how you got started and you know, you started coaching people based on your own experience and everything like that. What would you say has been the biggest struggle or challenge that your clients face in their business that they come to you with?
That my clients face.
Mhm.
I thought you were going to ask me a different question. But okay, so what my clients face. I think it's that whole thing of like, I find a lot of entrepreneurs in this space of like the next and the next and the next. And it's like they hit a goal and then it's like, oh my gosh, when do I go get the next one? Or I find a lot of entrepreneurs that I work with, salon owners, they do have a lot, and this was me too, so I can completely relate to it. There's a people pleaser side where you want to make everybody happy around you, and then you're the one suffering in the end. People pleasing syndrome is a big thing I'll work with and coach people on that are entrepreneurs.
What would you say is the biggest not symptom, what is the biggest display of people pleasing? I guess symptom, for lack of better words.
Being,
How does people pleasing display itself in real life? Just in case
uh,
people don't know, because
yeah,
you
yeah.
hear people pleasing, you think, okay, I want to please people, but sometimes it's disguised. People pleasing is not even the toughest person. Sometimes could display people pleasing. How does that show up in real life? Besides not being able to say no.
Last minute requests
Mhm.
to take vacations, to leave early, to like when people are walking in the door late, are you holding them accountable? Compensation structures. like feeling like guilty or bad when, because this is a huge challenge in our industry. A lot of salon owners overpay their service providers. So there's when they have to like start changing commission structures, it's like that whole guilt and feeling bad and oh my gosh, they're going to leave me. So they have those internal battles with themselves to make business decisions. So I guess one of the things I can share now as I keep diving into this is that, you know, I had been, you know, doing more consulting, business coaching, and now I'm in a more of a realm of working with people's mindset
Right.
and like helping them release the negative emotions and limiting beliefs that have been sabotaging them. Because what I had found and noticed a lot of the times as a consultant, I would be like, here you go, like here's your system, here's the structure, here's all the things that you can put in your plate in your business to have a key turn system. And their negative emotions and limiting beliefs would like slow them down from implementing them quicker, sooner, faster.
What would they say?
They would be, I mean, there's so many reasons and excuses. Not implement a system. Oh, I didn't have time. Oh, I got busy, sidetracked. Most people self-sabotage themselves and they're pretty not consciously aware of it.
I know for me, when you would coach me, because I'm thinking back in the day when I had the business, this is why I'm asking you so many questions about people pleasing and how it
Yeah.
comes up. Because when I had my salon and you were giving me the formula, like, hey, do this, I felt fear. I was afraid of so many things at the same time, afraid to have difficult conversations. I guess that's the people pleasing
Yeah.
part too. Afraid to raise my prices. I guess that can come across in people pleasing too. Afraid to follow this particular plan also because I had relied on like a natural intuition. I always tell you that, like, I don't feel, you have to feel a certain thing, and you're just like, it doesn't always work that way. So it was a hard thing for me to grasp also. So I just wanted to know, was that also people pleasing? It's, and where does this people pleasing come from? Is it the self-sabotage, limiting beliefs? Where does this people pleasing come from?
I'm going to say most of it, all that belief system and those behaviors, they most likely were actually created from the ages of 0 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
From the ages of 0 to 7. So if I can dive in a little bit, like we have a conscious mind and an unconscious mind. And our unconscious mind is where our behaviors, our belief system live. And 95% of people's behaviors are run at the unconscious level. And most of the time, people are consciously not aware of it, or they become aware of it 5 seconds after it happened. So most people are on automatic autopilot. So from 0 to 7, when we're growing up, our unconscious minds are uncritical little sponges. So between our parents, grandparents, family, other siblings, if we have siblings, teachers, strangers on the street, whoever, people we come in contact with, we're these uncritical little sponges. Our unconscious mind is absorbing everyone else around us, values and beliefs patterns. Sometimes this stuff can be generational. That's my belief system.
Mm-hmm.
So that stuff actually starts happening at that age, and we consciously might not even remember some of it happening. They're even saying now that in the 3rd trimester, when a baby is in the womb of the mother, it even starts happening now. That's what science is saying.
Yeah, I've been hearing things about trauma that's passed on generationally. So we're talking from gestation, from carried on through bloodlines, and it just seems so, it's so amazing to think that something that you weren't even around to experience have been passed down to you somehow, you
Mhm.
know. So what, I want to know, what advice do you have for people struggling with fear and overwhelm when it comes to pursuing their dreams?
Oh gosh. Simple advice would be always remember.
Whatever your heart is
Yeah,
telling you to say.
this is like the simple, like, start doing this right now. Like, I could be like, and we can do timeline therapy to do a deep dive. But simple, like, real-time advice, always remember, fear, all it is false evidence appearing real for the most of the time.
Mhm.
So most of the time, we think of something that we want to do, and then we make up all these stories in our heads of all the things that could possibly go wrong. And that's where the fear starts coming in. And one thing though, like fear, if we go back to caveman days, like fear was a real thing that served us as an instinct because it saved us from being eaten by lions or wherever, right? Or dinosaurs.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Survival.
Yeah, it was a survival thing. And now fear as a survival mechanism in our mind, it serves us in these ways that don't work anymore, right? So so fear, the basic thing, it's like protecting you, protecting your nervous system and all the things. But it's just like realizing, oh, okay, is this really what I'm thinking? Is this actually real, or is it just something I'm making up in my head? Right? So really acknowledging that, okay, this is just not, this isn't the truth. This isn't real. Like, what really is the worst thing that's going to happen if you want to go pursue your dream or pursue an action or have a conversation with someone? Like, really, what's the worst thing that's going to happen?
Mhm.
Now, if a zombie starts chasing you, yes, follow your fear, run. Or like, like we're all free and clear of this, but you're being attacked. Yes. Go with the fear and like what you want to do and run or protect yourself. But most of the time, it's just this thing that is just, it's not even real. So the mind is a very powerful thing. So
I
if I,
know, because what I'm thinking is that if I'm feeling negative emotions about something very deeply, it feels real. It
yeah,
feels like it's happening. And sometimes you see it in front of you in physical form, whether it be a relationship status, whether it be a financial status, whether it be a health status. It's real happening in front of you, and you tend to have these negative feelings about what's really happening. How do you pull yourself out of that?
I like doing breath work to pull yourself out. Pausing. So one breath work technique is, it's called box breathing or life breath. So taking a deep breath in for 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds, breathing out for 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds. That completely will calm your nervous system down. Another technique is alternate nostril breathing, where you like cover one nostril, you breathe in deeply, cover the other one up, release the other one, release. And then you just take deep breaths in and out and alternate your nostril for about 90 seconds. Everyone, it's a must. Alternate nostril breathing to calm your nervous system down. I had a one of my students, she's a salon owner in Colorado. She texted me, I don't know, a couple weeks ago and was like, I'm getting ready to do a presentation at a school and I'm so nervous and I'm so anxious and whatever. And I had at the time and I was like, I just called her instead of like texting her back. And I was like, okay, I told her that exact same thing to do.
Hmm.
And she goes, oh my gosh, I feel calm already. And then she did it more before her presentation. And then when I followed up with her, she goes, I can't even believe how powerful that technique was. And I had like the best presentation. So that could be something you can do all day long
Mm-hmm.
to calm
Maybe
your nervous system.
it's not just a one and done thing. It's like a practice that you have to do multiple times a day or whenever needed.
Yeah, or you could just to practice it, do it every 60 minutes. Just do, because all you're doing is calming your nervous system down. Your nervous system is like, you're going out of your comfort zone. Alert, alert, alert. Keep her safe, keep her safe.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just all you're doing is calming your nervous system down, like, oh, we're safe to go do this thing we've never done before. Everything is going to be just okay. More
Do
than
you
okay.
think that you
It's
can
going to
do
be
the
awesome.
same? Mhm. Do you think that you can do the same thing when it comes to self-doubt or imposter syndrome? You know, when you're starting that new thing or you have this new opportunity and you just don't feel like you feel like they chose the wrong person. You feel like they chose the wrong person, or you accept and you feel like you made a mistake, or you want to quit because you just don't think that you're good enough. Is that something? I mean, I think
I
it's in
love
the
that you
same.
just fire hosed all these things. And for this and this and this.
I know. Well, you know what? I think for negative emotions,
Yeah.
within the negative emotions, there's so many specific different feelings that people
Yeah.
could be having about that. But I'm just thinking about self-doubt. Just, am I really good enough to do this thing that I want to do?
Yeah. Yeah. So that could be a tool or a practice in the moment, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
To do a really, really deep dive in letting go of that root limited belief, like at the root cause. I love tools like NLP, timeline therapy, and hypnosis that
Mm-hmm.
really support reframing your unconscious mind. So you're like letting that stuff go.
Yeah, a lot of times it has a lot to do with our past programming and the things that we're putting to our mind, these experiences that we haven't let go of. So you mentioned in our introduction, I mentioned that you were a trainer and master NLP coach. What is NLP and how can it help people?
So NLP, neuro linguistic programming, and I want to say it's a study of excellence. That's one way of putting it. And it's a lot of different types of techniques. And ultimately, it is about communication, how we communicate with others, how we communicate with ourselves, how we're talking to ourselves. It is like modeling techniques. Like if you see something amazing in somebody else, you see it in them, so it's also inside of you. So it's like,
Mhm.
how do I bring it out so that I can step into that of my own version. It's reframing the way you think. So if you are thinking a negative thought, okay, so and then noticing it, how am I going to reframe this so that I'm thinking more positively? So here's another tip that I love to share with everyone I work with. So your unconscious mind does not process a direct negative. Okay.
Your
So
unconscious mind does not process a direct negative.
negative, right? Yes. So I'll give you an example. If I say to you, do not think about a blue tree, do not think about a purple pig, do not think about your nose. Stacy, did you think about any of those three things?
The image definitely flashed in my mind for each one.
Yes. Like, and for you listening, did you think about any of those three? Notice, did you think about any of those three things? Okay. So the reason I bring this up is because most of the time when I ask people, what do you want in life? Or what do you want for your business? What do you want for your career? And they say, then they start listing all the things that they don't want.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So again, this is the context I like to share it in. Okay. In one context. Do you know someone that is always complaining about the person that they're dating? They always talk about the negative traits about the person they're dating. They always talk about all the things that they don't want in someone that they're going to date. And then you see them dating the same type of person over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
It's because their main focus is on all the things they don't want in a significant other. And their unconscious mind isn't processing that direct negative. Even though they know they don't want to date a quote unquote jerk, your unconscious mind is like, you want to date a jerk. You want to date a jerk. So you keep attracting the jerks. So focus on, if you're in the dating scene, focus on all the qualities and characteristics of the person you want to be dating. I want to date someone that's passionate. I want to date someone that's has compassion. I want to date someone that travels. So you focus on the qualities and characteristics of the person you want versus the ones you don't want.
Yeah. And I noticed that there's certain that those people that think like that, and I'm not completely removing myself from those people, because I think naturally sometimes, again, when it's happening in front of you, you're observing a negative situation, so you think that it's real. But I find that real people feel like it's real, or they're being realistic, or they're being cautious. And those are the experiences and the conversations that they have. Like if you ask that person, they would say, "What? It's true. This is, this is what he does, or this is what that person does. It's true. It's true." They would refer to it as something that is real. But what you're saying is that by focusing on that negative thing, it has the opposite reaction. You actually start to attract it to yourself more and more.
Or you see more of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, gosh, I could go into deep dives in so many directions with all this stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
there's like this concept that like perception is projection. We see things, everybody sees things through the model of their own eyes, right? So we have these filter systems. So we filter everything that comes into our minds. So let me see how I can simply put this the most. So everyone has their own model of the world, okay, based on their values, past experiences, based on the way they think, how they grew up, all these things. So we process things through 5 major modalities. So what we hear, what we see, what we feel like internally, like an emotion, or what we touch, what we smell, and what we taste. So that's how we process information. So we're filtering things through our model of the world. Okay. So then we start generalizing, distorting, and deleting certain information. Okay. As we're filtering. So then what happens is we create an internal representation based on the way we think. And then we have a state or an emotion that happens, which equals a behavior. Okay. So another part of that is on every given second, there is about 11 billion bits of information coming at us consistently, right? So when all this information is coming, if we were to take in 1 million bits of information, our mind would be overloaded like a computer. It would just be overloaded. So between that filtering system, we only retain about 40 to 50 bits of that information. Okay.
Wow.
So the one way I love to describe this too is, have you ever been in a meeting? Okay. And there's maybe 10 people in this meeting, and there's one speaker. Okay. Maybe the manager or the owner of the business. And the meeting is now over. Now everyone disperses, and you know how people are. They like to talk about what happened in the meeting. And then one person's like, oh my gosh, Bridget was so inspiring. I got so much value out of that meeting. And then the next person's like, Bridget was doing nothing but yell at us. She was telling us all the things that we did wrong. And then the other person's like, Bridget didn't even talk about that. And then so I'll be like, well, yeah, she did. And then the other person's like, and she didn't even set the agenda for the next meeting. And someone's like, yeah, it's it's right here. So everyone was like filtering out. I'm the person talking, and all 10 people had a different experience. I mean, maybe some people had similar, but then there's people that, like, based on the way they perceive things and the way they think and the things that they're picking up, they perceived me as one way, and some person thought I was this way.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
like that's the way I like to describe it.
it's funny how we can all be in the same room and hear 10, everybody hears something completely different based on where you are in your life and the space that you are in your life. Okay, so now in business, I have so many examples that I could draw from, but let's say, for example, one of my students in my course, I have a new online course called Activate Your Brand. It's for creative professionals looking to come out of the shadows and use their personal brand to attract partnership opportunities. And one of my students shared with me that the work of reflecting, I did like a reflection exercise where they just basically had to say, what is it that they want? What is their actual vision in life and in their where do they want their career to go? And to, make a list of companies that they want to work with or clients that they want to work with. And just kind of reflect on, I think the idea of the exercise is that, because I shared my own story, that when I was looking to become a celebrity stylist, I can't even tell you if that's really what I wanted when I was going after it. It was just the thing that everybody wanted. It's either you make a lot of money in a salon, you own a salon, you become a celebrity stylist, an ambassador, or you have your own product or something like that. And even out of all those, or an educator, and even out of all those goals, I'm like, am I going after this because I want it, or is it because it's the next best thing? So when I was pursuing becoming this celebrity stylist, I was met with a lot of rejection. But long story short, one of the agencies that I went to was giving me my last rejection. And I just had the courage to say, hey, do you mind telling me exactly why this is not working? Because I've been to so many places and I've gotten so many rejections. Why is it that you don't think I'm a fit for your agency? And he basically just said, you're a Black stylist. I can tell that you're really good at what you do. Why don't you just focus on doing that? And it was just an empowering question. He didn't tell me exactly why. He just asked me that question. It was enough for me to say, yeah, why don't I do this? Because I was afraid. I was afraid to be pigeonholed in the industry and only known as one thing. I didn't realize there was so much power in focusing on that one thing. So when I started to focus on this area of mastery, or this area that I was already good at, so many doors started to open for me. So many opportunities started to come my way. I guess that's my long way of saying that it's so important for you to have your own vision and be clear on what you want, because up until then, I was just following what everybody else thought was their idea of success. So I asked my students, because it's based on my real life experience, I asked them to simply reflect and say, what is it that you really want? And it's okay if it's the same thing, even after you do the exercise. But for me, it seemed like a simple step because I've already had the experience, the revelation to reflect. But to somebody who's never done that inner work, it was so scary for her. She said that it was almost like it was so deep, it was so scary. She needed time to just sit and make a separate space to have this experience. And I didn't know what you just heard me say, but I feel like that would speak to somebody listening to say
Yeah,
that, she's just like, whatever was starting to be revealed to her in that reflection
yeah.
was making her feel like she had to make a very stark decision to give up one thing and start the other thing. And oh my gosh, I can't give it up. I don't have the money. I have, these obligations. I can't leave right now. I have this. It just makes you feel like you have to make a decision right away on something. But yeah, I don't know what you just heard me say. I said a lot, but there are people who can't even do the work. Like you were saying earlier, you hand them the blueprint, you hand them the keys to the kingdom, you hand them the formula for success. I'm literally telling you exactly what I did to be successful. And for a fact, if you do exactly that thing, you will be successful too. But they just cannot put one foot in front the other to do it. What do you have to say about that?
You know, the short answer is just unfortunately the limiting beliefs get in the way.
Well, let's dig into what is
It's
those limiting beliefs.
that self sabotage
Mm-hmm.
that's like underneath the surface, whether we consciously are aware of it or not. I love the book. This is a great book. I recommend everyone to read. I probably recommended it to
I
you.
think I know what you're going to say.
Big Leap.
Yes,
Yes, read the Big Leap, everyone. It's
that's a
amazing.
game changer. It
Yeah,
was a game changer for me. I'm going to be honest.
yeah. So by Gay Hendricks, I just recommended it today to someone. I highly, highly, it's like a must read. I read
Mm-hmm.
it. I've read it several times and I've even listened to the audio. He explains it so easily how people just self sabotage themselves and they don't even realize it.
Mm-hmm.
And the next level is actually, yeah, taking a look at the mirror and now consciously bringing that stuff to the surface and being like, whoa, like I have this limiting belief running my show of like I don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not good enough. When we're free, I'm having you guys be free and clear of this because I am not I'm here to install good things into your unconscious and to have you reject the things that do not serve you. But like that's just what a lot of people are facing. If they're facing that underlying unconscious crap that most people it's like oh my gosh, I have to actually take a look in the mirror and then
I have to take a
and
look in that.
do
That's what it
the,
is.
and
Yeah,
it's just look taking a look in the mirror, accepting who you are for who you are. You came to this point in day and like doing the self-love and pouring into yourself and then doing the work to let go of, I call it the crap that doesn't serve you anymore,
yeah.
like letting that stuff go, letting go of like. And here's the thing, I think all ranges of emotion are natural. Okay, like, do I sometimes still get fear? Yes. And I've done so much releasing around fear. I don't it's like it's not I don't let it stop me, right? If you knew me 5 years ago and I was talking to you about some, one of the breakdowns that happened in my life, because I've had many that we haven't even brought up here. If I were talking about it, you would see me get angry all over again. It would be like I would be reliving it. And a lot of people live with that. If I'm like, oh, if you talk about something, it's like the flare up of the emotion, where I can talk about something that was a breakdown in my life now without being angry about it. It was just something that happened. And I can get angry, and it's usually like I get angry for like 5 or 10 minutes and then I laugh it off and I let it go.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that being able to have all the ranges of emotions, but living in the positive ones 90 or 95% of the time, right? And then looking at, okay, so I've let go of so many limiting beliefs. I don't matter. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. They're going to leave me. They don't like me. Because I was a huge people pleaser. And
Mm-hmm.
at the height, I'm talking about the height of my salon success. I was, My salon was producing practically $1 million in revenue. And then I was an independent consultant for another company. So between salon and the other company I was working for, I was most likely producing 1.3, 1.4 in sales. That wasn't my paycheck. It was sales and winning awards and all the awesome clients I work with. There was still this part of me that nothing was ever good enough. I was like, it's never good enough. I gotta get here. I gotta get there. I had such a hard time being in the present moment.
So do you think that
So concerned about the future.
does that go away, or that's just something we have to learn how to live with?
For me, I've learned how to let it go. For me, I've never been so more present in my life than I've ever have been. And like so grounded. Yes, I think about the future. However, obsessing about the future, that's not a thing.
Well, how did you get there? How did you get to a place where more now than ever you're present? How do you get to this place where you're just so confident in being present?
The easy answer is NLP, timeline therapy, and hypnosis.
So
And
we talked about the NLP. Let's talk a little bit about hypnosis, because I know that hypnosis has this connotation. I mean, through movies, through, what everyday conversation, we think of hypnosis as one thing, like being in a trance and it making you do crazy things, barking like a dog, hopping on one foot or whatever. How is the modern day hypnosis? Like, how do you teach it? How did you learn it? Like, what is hypnosis and how are you using it?
I'm so glad you asked. Well, it's so funny because you were like, how did you become a coach? And like, what had you become a coach? And I was like, because I hired a coach. And then my next was I was introduced to NLP, timeline therapy, and hypnosis. And for my first training program I took, I was like, whoa. Like, I don't think that anymore. I'm not angry anymore. And I was like, that's it. This is my next thing I'm teaching. So it was the difference it made in my life, and that inspired me to train others. So hypnosis, yes, if you were to ask me 4 or 5 years ago about hypnosis, I would have been like, Even meditation, I had the hardest time with it. I was like, can this end? If someone took me through a meditation. Well, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, okay? So most people think hypnosis is mind control. It is so far from mind control. The only way it is mind control is because it gives you the capability to now control your own mind. So it is not no one else, like I wouldn't be able to and now, Stacy, you're going to go rob a bank and get $1 million. Like, that's not how hypnosis works. The television has done hypnosis no favors. And so is stage hypnosis, like the cluck like a chicken, like stage hypnosis. People that do stage hypnosis, they know exactly the type of people to pull up on stage. They're pulling up the people that are extroverts, that want to be the life of the party, that are going to be like agreeable and like show that it's all working. Like they know how to pick these people, right? And hypnosis is also a very natural state. Have you ever driven from point A to point B and you don't remember how you got there?
All the time.
Okay. That's because you're in trance. So your unconscious mind has taken over and it knows exactly how to get there. Okay. Have you ever been listening to the radio and all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, I don't even like this song. Why is the radio on? You're in trance with the radio. Television, they call it television programming for a reason. Okay. So I say to everybody, be mindful of what you watch on television, because consider that the media is installing negative things in people's unconscious on the daily. Like I remember I was listening to the I was I was listening to the news, and out of the back of my mind I was like, and they're like, and everyone is afraid. Well, it's like, no, everyone's not afraid. The media is generalizing everything. And then people are like,
Mhm.
oh, everyone's afraid. We gotta whatever. So this is what I just want to say to all my yourself. Unconscious mind, only accept the good and the positive things for me and reject all the things that are not. So now your unconscious mind will get in rapport with you and you're going to reject negative things around you and you'll accept positive. That's what I like to say. I'm all about working with the unconscious mind, if you can't tell.
Okay, that's very interesting. So hypnosis isn't the actual the thing that you see in these movies and dramatized shows or whatever. It's just a way of breaking some unconscious behaviors.
Yes, I love you said it perfectly. It's helping install new behavior patterns and new thought patterns.
Okay. So now
And
we
you
talk.
have to be congruent with it.
Mhm.
Like you have to want to accept it, right? So your unconscious mind will only accept things that are in your value system.
Mhm.
They will reject all the things that are not.
Okay.
So, so it's all at the end of the day, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis.
Okay.
As a hypnotherapist, all I'm doing is I'm a catalyst for my clients or my students to go into trance.
Mhm. Okay. Interesting. That's I can tell that everything that we're covering today can have a deeper dive. E-
Oh, I can talk
every
about
every every topic so far we can do a deep dive in. So it was just a light introduction. So we talked about NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming. We
Mhm,
talked about hypnosis.
mhm,
All hypnosis is self hypnosis. And
mhm.
what about timeline therapy? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because before you, Bridget, before you introduced me to it, I didn't know what it was. I heard of, no, no, no. Correction. I've heard of NLP. That's quite popular
Yeah.
amongst all of the thought leaders and gurus out there. But I had never heard of timeline therapy. So tell us a little bit about what that is.
So timeline therapy is, I would consider it a hybrid of NLP and hypnosis work. So it is light trance work, and you're very consciously aware of what's going on. It's not like the trance, like you're zonked out. You're conscious. And I like to say, for those of you that have watched the movie Scrooge or The Christmas Carol, so he goes like, I like to use my arm as an example. So here's the present. So he goes with the ghost of Christmas past, and he floats out of his body, and he floats back into the past, and he's watching his past self, okay, his younger self, right? So he's disassociated, watching his past self, and he's like getting all these new learnings and like new ideas, and oh my gosh, and remembering, I used to be fun and I used to be all these things. So then he brings all these learnings and self-awarenesses, positive learnings and self-awarenesses back to his present, comes back, and then some other things happen in the movie, and now he changes to the trajectory of his life. So before he was like, greedy and didn't want, stingy and like a grumpy old man. Then he turns into this, like overnight, he turns into this like giving, grateful, like generous man that is like now loving life. Right. So it like, as it happens overnight with Scrooge, timeline therapy is a very quick process.
Mm-hmm.
Like I usually, when I'm doing like, let's just say I'm releasing a negative emotion like anger, usually like 10 to 15 minutes. And it is completely different than talk therapy. The less I know about the incident, the better it is for my client to release it for
Mm-hmm.
themselves. So I'm a catalyst. My client does all the work, internal work.
Right,
But
right.
that's like the best way I like to describe timeline therapy. So it helps with releasing negative emotions that have been dragging on behind you like a ball and chain. It supports releasing negative belief patterns like I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, fear of success. Many entrepreneurs have fear of success.
Mm-hmm.
People have yeah, they're actually afraid of their own success. It's a
And
real
I don't think
real
that that is talked about. I think people think about fear of failure, fear of rejection, but the fear of success is essentially the fear of failing too, right? Because you think that so the person that's afraid of failing, they have this feeling that if I do this, I'm not going to do well. I will fail. So I'm not even going to start. The person who is afraid of success, it's basically saying, oh my gosh, if I do this, it's going to work. It's actually going to work. And then when it works, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
I'm not going to handle it. And then I'm going to get so high up and then I'm going to end up failing. So is it both the same? Like you're afraid of,
Yeah, you
yeah.
you you nailed it. Like some people are like afraid like if I become too successful, will I still have the same friends?
Mm-hmm.
Or what will happen? So yeah, there's a million different ways, but you said it pretty good. And it's a whole thing about even with money,
Mm-hmm.
right? How many, people's money belief system, like feeling worthy of it. How many stories have you heard where people win the lottery and instantly become millionaires and they lose it within a year? They basically go back to exactly where they were.
It's just that
Like they
self-sabotage.
can't handle it. It's like they
Mm-hmm.
can't handle the wealth. They don't have them. They haven't worked on their own mindset to be able to handle the wealth.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Read the Big Leap. You'll hear what I'm saying in there.
No, definitely. I actually started to re-listen to it. I've been getting the urge to it's funny because I made a promise to myself that this year I was going to read one book every week. And this is going back to, where did this come from? Where did this goal come from? Where did this vision come from? Did I just set this vision because somebody said it was good to read a book every week? And somebody said that you can kind of give your, because I read somewhere that for people studying to get their PhD, they basically have to read 30 to 50 books and
Mm.
combine it in a thesis where they have to prove their point in a dissertation or thesis. So somehow in my mind, I said, okay, well, if that's a step that I had to go through, oh, it had to be on a specific topic, right? And now I'm studying personal branding. So I said, you know what? I'm going to read 30 to 50 books this year on branding and business, but that would mean I need to read a book a week. So I started out and I got my first 3 books, and then I realized, whose goal is this and where did it come from? Not that I'm not interested in reading, because I'm not going to lie and say I love reading, but depending on the topic, I can be an avid listener, like audiobooks. I like stuff like that. I am the type of person that just likes to stew with information. I
Mhm.
like to read it, then go back to it, and then live it, and then go back to it. So, my point I'm making is The Big Leap made its way back, but it's a book I already read. So, if I was keeping tally, that technically wouldn't be one of my 50 books. So, I think I'm going to have to reformulate my book goals for this year to myself and throw all of that other stuff out the window, because I it's like I like to read books that are speaking to the situation that I'm in or that I can resonate with, or I like to reference business, tips and actions and entrepreneurial actions. And I've been wanting to reread The Big Leap now for the last 2 weeks, but I was like, nope, 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 nope. You said one book a week. And if you go reread The Big Leap, you're going to throw yourself off. And today I started re listening to it. So the story of the lottery and all of that stuff, it's
Oh.
fresh to me because I just heard him talk about that self-sabotage of,
Mhm.
the people who win and what happened to their life because they just can't see themselves happy.
Yeah.
They just have this inner thermostat that if,
Yeah.
if your thermostat is set to 72 degrees, and that could be money, that could be health, that could be your goals. If you only see yourself, it's all self identity. If you only see yourself as a 72 degreer, if you try to go to 73 degrees, it's okay if you go to 71, 70. Even then, if you go too low, something will bring you back up to at least 72. But if you try to go to 75 or 80, that's when all the self sabotage comes out to
And
bring you.
yeah. And like, I'll even speak for myself. Like, I live this work. I practice it on the daily, and I'm even at a point right now where I've reached I've reached income levels, and I'm like, whoa, what is going on with me hitting the next one? What is hitting? So I'm doing my own work.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so now, all right, now I'm hitting this one. What do I have to clear? What do I have to work on in my own internal self? So then I'm like, oh, and now I get to the next one.
That's
And
amazing.
then when I get to this one, okay, what do I got to do to get here? So I'm like, because there's that whole mind body and spiritual connection.
It's so true. We have to continue to do the work.
You
You
got
have
it.
to
Yeah, it's
continue
like,
to do
it's
the
just
work.
living in the work. Like, I had somebody, I've had people be like, and when is the work ever gonna end? When am I ever gonna get there? And I'm like, you know what? Consider it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's just a lifestyle. It's like, oh,
The lifestyle.
that's interesting that I'm up again. You know what? I'll be so vulnerable right now. I actually, because I practice what I preach. I work with other people in my industry that are like, do what I do, and that I mentor under. I was in a coaching conversation with someone today that is the same line of work. And I was discussing about going to my own next level. And what does that look like in my broader reach out there? And guess what? I said out loud, I was like, oh my gosh, I think what's really getting in my way to go to my next level is like responsibility. Like, I think I'm a little afraid of more responsibility, because the more people I touch, the more income I bring in, because it's all income is a reflection of the work I do. That's really, it's money's energy, right? So I was like, oh, I think I'm a little scared of the more responsibility. Like, I'm responsible for, like, okay, I coach this many people in a year. If I double that, that's more responsibility for more people and more people. Like, can I handle the responsibility?
Can I handle it? It's always that.
I was like that. I really said that today. So guess what? I'm going to go do my own work about getting out of my own way, about like, yeah, I can handle, I'm changing the world.
Yeah.
Change the world. Every life I touch is a ripple effect on someone else. And that's what I say to everybody I work with. You do you. I call it being deliciously selfish.
Okay.
You be deliciously selfish. So you do your inner work. You be the best version of you, so that every single life you touch, you are better for them. And then it becomes a ripple effect.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that vulnerability. I was going to share that. That's one of the main reasons that I brought the book out, because it just dawned on me that I'm ready for my next level as well. Just like exactly what you just said. We're like in sync. We're aligned in that sense, because in 2011 or 2012, I made a vision board, and I wrote out all. I was a big vision boarder at the time. I still, in a sense, like to have my vision, but I wrote out a list of all of the goals that I wanted to accomplish. I had the vision board, and I thought I was dreaming so big in 2012. In 2012 into 2013, I really did. I said I wanted to, pursue the celebrity stylist on my own, because I had already worked with celebrities with under the umbrella of other stylists and TV shows. I wanted to become a brand ambassador. I wanted to make multiple six figures, and I wanted to have my own community of uh, women, like a women's empowerment. I wanted to have my own journals and merch and T-shirts. I thought I was thinking so big. And fast forward, I achieved everything on the list. And what I realized today is that I haven't created a new identity for myself. I haven't created a new self-image. So I in turn could have been sabotaging myself last year unknowingly because I didn't know what beyond this looked like. I hadn't started to visualize what that is. And I'm just like, I see this woman when I look at pictures and I look at videos of myself presenting, and I'm like, I see her. She's bigger. But how do I get from here to there? I couldn't, it just dawned on me today that, oh my goodness, I'm hitting that ceiling of limiting beliefs. My thermostat is, I've met the highest I can go at my thermostat. So now I got to go back to the inner work and reimagine what that is. I
Yeah.
can't handle it. And I think it was Brendan Bouchard. I was listening to one of his, do you know Brendan Bouchard?
Oh, yeah.
I was listening to one of his YouTube videos. I listened to so much of his stuff. I don't know if it was a video, I read his book or whatever, but he said, we just have three fears. We really just have three fears. And one of the biggest fears is that, um, I'm just paraphrasing, we can't handle it. Hard
Yeah.
things are hard. We can't do hard things,
Yeah.
or that you're going to lose something. And when lose something just means like, if I have to lose weight, then I got to stop eating the burger. You're just afraid that, oh my God, what is life going to be like if I don't eat this burger when I need it? So just, that's just a funny example.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm at that stage too, where it is time to reimagine, and thinking about reimagining is exciting, but it's also scary because you still feel like you're very uncertain as to what that next level look like. But you have examples, right? You have mentors, you have examples. I think that where I'm trying to go, I have to create this example. I have to take a little bit from this one, a little bit from that one, and also just trust my own wisdom as well. That's what it's still an early stage. Literally just
Yeah.
before we got on this call, I was just like, oh, that's what it is. I'm at my upper limit, right? I'm at the upper limit, and now it's time to reimagine. So
What a beautiful like awareness, right? Really.
yeah, it
Then
is.
it's awareness and like, oh, and then getting into inspired action.
Yeah. So what steps are you going to take now that you've had that little aha moment? What is that? I feel like that's going to help me hearing. For some reason, when you share what you're doing, that really helps me. And I know if I feel that way, that the Girl Activate community is going to benefit from that. So you had this aha moment that, oh my gosh, I think I'm actually a little scared that this next level is going to require more of me, and I might not be able to handle it, but that's a lie. That's a lie. And I can't keep telling myself that lie. So now you, with all the tools in your toolbox, your experience and your trainings, and what is somebody like you who knows what to do? So walk me through your next step of breaking those limiting beliefs.
Oh, what's next for me? Okay, so I had shared. So the last like couple years, I had solely, for the most part, built my over 6-figure business, networking, referral, reaching out to people, building relationships. And my next level of like even broadening it, it's a whole nother skill I'm learning is doing Facebook ads, to believe it or not, to get my webinars out there to more in front of more people that are my ideal clients. And that is something I've never done before.
So
a whole nother like level of like introduction to new people. in my
Mhm.
life. I'm getting ready to, I actually just committed to signing a contract to go to Data Driven in Colorado, which is
Why does that sound so familiar?
Salon Today Magazine's 2-day conference, Data Driven. They usually have it in different cities. This year they're going to have it in Denver, and they have the Salon Today Top 200 party there. Um,
Okay.
so I'm going to have a table there. And like, it's the first time that, so I used to work.
Wait. I hate to cut you off.
It's
So
okay.
from this moment, this morning, when you had your light bulb moment, you've already made all these decisions today?
Well, they were in the works, but I've
Okay.
fully committed into some things. Yeah. Like,
Mhm.
oh, like it was taking me forever to come up with the title of my next webinar I was going to do. Like, I was blocked. Like, I don't know what to call it. And if I don't call it the right name, I can't write it. Like,
Mhm.
I was getting in that headspace. So, coming up with a name, now I'm just like, all right, the name is done, and now I'm moving forward. So I have a by when I'm going to launch this brand new webinar talk, and it's March 12th, I think. It's on my calendar.
Mhm.
So I haven't committed in now. So things are in motion. So before it was like, oh, I'm gonna have another talk and another webinar, and then it was just floating in time and space. Where today I set the date in motion, and I set the date on when I'm going to launch the first one.
And the fear is gone.
Well, I mean, got a little babiness going on, and I'm going to be in action. It's like, even in the face of fear, it's like, what action will I get into to move forward closer to my goals and all the things?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. For me, I guess I don't have all the tools yet in my arsenal, but when I had that aha moment before getting on this call, I said to my that the aware I was so excited about the awareness. First of all,
mhm.
I didn't really have any strategy, but it just seems like it was already built in. It's like you already know what to
Yeah.
do. It's then you realize that it was the fear all along that's getting in the way, because as soon as I realized that there is a ceiling that I'm hitting, I'm like, oh, okay. So now I just have to do the work. So I'm going to now, for me, I'll just talk through my process. And so now that I have that awareness, I said, okay, so that's in the way. What's going to help me get out of it? I got to go back to what my tools are. I'm going to finish listening to the book, go over some of my old notes, write out some new notes, maybe start to conceptualize what another level would really look like for me.
Mhm.
Because I think maybe it's been a while. I just had this generic next level. What does that look like for me in the space that I'm in right now? Um, and then I'm just going to brainstorm. I like to do a lot of writing, journaling, or bullet pointing, and just seeing what pops up from here on out. So it's not an overnight thing for me. It's not an instant thing for me. I think the only thing that was instant was the awareness that there
Mhm.
was something blocking me. So
Mhm.
now that I have that, it's like each day, that 1% of improvement, it kind of compounds into whatever that next thing is. So that's kind of like my process. I don't know if you can do some light coaching around that, but that's my process. That's my
Yeah.
where I'm at right now with the tools that I have right now is just taking that awareness and in my own little way, um, just kind of uh, clearing through that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one of the things I love to share with people, a mentor of mine would always say, and this has stuck with me, is like, build your plane as you're flying.
Yeah.
So many people get so stuck and like having to build out this 100% thing or be 100. They're like, but it has to be perfect, or they gotta build out whatever it is, and then there's failure to launch. It's actually you have your destination, and like get in action, even no matter what. Be in action towards your destination. Because if you're staying in this, if you're staying stuck in like, oh, I have to have all the systems in place to launch. Then it could be an extremely slow moving launch, and we'll find ourselves in the same place year after year after year.
Yeah. So
So
true.
even in the face of like, oh, it's, perfect, that's a whole nothing is really perfect. But there's a lot of people that live in perfectionism. Well, I can't do it unless it's perfect. Well,
Yeah.
that's just another thing to keep you stuck, right? So it's like getting an inspired action every single day towards that thing that you aspire to be or want to be, or start a business, and all the things.
Yeah. So I want somebody to write that in the comments if you're watching live or watching on the replay. Build a plane as you're flying it. Somebody needed to hear that
Build
tonight.
the plane as you
Build your plane as you're flying it.
Yeah, like
I just
here's another this is another tip. If you have a program you want to launch, I'll be honest with you, sell your program first, and then once you sell that first thing, then it's like, oh, now I have to create it. Right? It gets a little fire under your butt. So you're
yeah.
like,
That's
you're like,
the
oh, I'm
pre-sale
gonna,
model.
what'd you say?
I said that's the pre-sale model. The
Yeah.
pre-order. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Sell it
sometimes
first.
people spend all this time building out something, and then guess what? Then they don't sell it. It's like sell it
Yeah.
first and then build it out. Or at least
For
maybe
me,
build
for
out
me, I
10%
launched.
of it.
Mhm. I launched my online course. I had my open cart January 9th to January 19th, and I had people enroll. But the idea is to launch this program at least three times before it goes into evergreen, to
Yeah.
an evergreen program.
Mhm.
And at first, I was thinking how daunting this will be to relaunch. But it's so funny that if you don't build a plane as you're flying it, you don't know the pieces that you're going to need. You can't perfect it. You can't make it better until you actually put it out there. So now that my course is out there, I'm like, ooh, some supporting PDFs would be nice. Ooh, I think I want to have Brigette in the group talking about mindset, or ooh, I think I want to do a sales page. I think I want to,
Yeah.
so I think that with each launch, especially if you're talking about the same topic, you
Mhm.
get better and better and better. And then that final product is what you put into that evergreen, into that, the one that keeps running. Um, we got to talk about Facebook ads one day. I need to know. We need to compare, because that's one area. Oh my goodness, that I think a lot of mid-level, intermediate entrepreneurs struggle with, trying to understand how to make that work. But I just wanted to go back to what the show is about, and I had labeled it, titled it, Unleashing Success, Overcoming Negative Emotions and Self-Doubt in Business. So as we are kind of coming to a close, I want to know, do you feel like we have embodied that, like overcoming negative emotions and self-doubt in business? I feel that I shared a lot of my self doubt and negative emotions, and hopefully people found value in our personal experiences. Is there anything that you would like to share that would tie that in to the community?
Oh gosh, where could I start? There's so, here's the thing. It's like, your mind is so powerful, right? Your mind is so powerful. There's a quote that I love, like, if you think you can't, you're
That's
right.
true.
Like,
Hmm.
I don't know the exact quote, but if you think
Yeah.
you can or you think you can't, either way, you're right.
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 Hmm.
So it's like, focus on the things you want. Those are one of my tips. do the breathing exercises I shared with to get yourself grounded and present. I said focus on what you want, right? I said that already. Yeah, it's like just reframing. It's thinking positive thoughts. Like I said, those are simple tools to get out of the fear and the doubt. And sometimes it's just like you just got to go do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like the world needs all of us to step into more greatness. That's really like the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
The world needs more people stepping into their greatness so more people are aware of their greatness.
Mm-hmm.
So the world needs you, for you that are listening. The world needs you to play a bigger game so you show people that they can play a bigger game.
That's so true. By shining your light, you give permission to
Yep.
others to shine their own.
Ooh, I just
I
got
love
the
that.
goosebumps by you saying that. Yeah. Shine your light bright.
Yeah.
Yes. Dimming your light down is doing no one any service.
So true.
Yeah.
So what do you, I know that you had your aha moment today, but tell us a little bit more about what you're working on. I know you have two things that you shared with me. So tell us about what's next for Power Joy, oop,
Power and joy.
Power and Joy Coaching Academy. And
Yeah, I love training people. Like, I'm growing my certifications. I'm launching Thursday a second cohort for mentorship for the International Coaching Federation. So I love training. So I'm kind of just doing rinsing and repeating this year, training my NLP certifications, training hypnosis certifications, and then doing the one-on-one. I love doing one-on-one work with people to really do a deep dive into like quantum leap releasing of negative emotions and limiting beliefs. So it's kind of just doing that and expanding. So I have more responsibility in the world.
but you can handle it. You can do hard things.
Yes, that's right.
So you have two things that you want to offer the Girl Activate community. You want to talk about
Yes,
that?
I'd love to. So one of them is a free guide that I created, and it's specifically salon and spa industry specific. So it's the three biggest blocks to your exponential growth, to your salon and spa's exponential growth. So that's my free guide. And then I also have a free gift to have a VIP 30-minute
I'll take the 30-day one.
30 minutes, 30-minute session with me. Yeah, valued at, I think it's like $350. So yeah, so a complimentary session with me, power, joy, and profits strategy session where I work with you to really figure out like what really has been getting in your way and what are steps that you can take to do about it. So it's a discovery session. So yeah, so that's a link to opt in to follow me, and then my direct email to make the request. And I love meeting new people.
Nice. Yeah, so these two links, I wanted to let the girlies know that the two links to the VIP call and the link to the guide is going to be in the description of this video. So make sure you check it out. And I know Brigette personally, like I said, she has coached me in two different phases of my life. When I was a salon owner, we worked together, and also when I was transitioning into my solopreneurship, we worked together. So there's a connection there. I can vet for her, and maybe we can talk offline about some other value that we can add to the community.
Yeah.
So that's how they can connect with you, and you shared your special thoughts with them. But I want to just thank everybody for tuning in tonight to this episode, Unleash Your Success and Overcoming Negative Emotions and Self-Doubt in Business. I know firsthand that it's not always easy, but I also know firsthand that if you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and it seems like every other post that I share, it's about me feeling like I want to give up, but just putting one foot in front the other and not turning back. Because guess what? I already know what it feels like to fail. I already know what not working out looks like, but I haven't been able to see what the reward is on the other side of not giving up. And I think that curiosity to see that is outweighing me stopping. Because trust me, I want to give up too. I want to stop too. I have fear too. But the only difference with me in 2024 is just me putting one foot in front of the other. I also have a gift that I have for you guys. It's on my website, stacyciceron.com. It is 10 tips to effectively communicating your personal brand online. It's a quick guide. If you go to my website, you click on the download button and it'll be right in your inbox. You'll be so happy that you have it. It's a live document, meaning that whenever something new comes up or I'm inspired to share more, I'm constantly updating this document. So make sure you check it out. It's free and it'll be right in your inbox, stacyciceron.com. And that's it. I have no other events to talk about, but you can also sign up for my community there. So you'll be in the know of any events that are coming up, any offers, or whenever we go live again, because you definitely don't want to miss these episodes. Make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and make sure you leave comments, because all of that stuff somehow helps the algorithm and helps the show to grow. And Brigette, I just want to thank you so, so much for blessing us with those gems and being so open and vulnerable. I just know for a fact that somebody's life is going to be changed from listening to this podcast episode tonight. And we look forward to having you back in the community. I've invited you into the Facebook group. I'm not
Oh,
sure if
awesome.
you've seen it yet, but
Okay, great.
definitely check it out. Feel free to share anytime. You're welcome. You're one of the girlies now.
I
And so
love it.
happy to have you here. All right,
Yeah,
guys. See you
pleasure.
next Tuesday night. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon. Ciao. Hang on, Brigette.